Hello, Paintball. I am a developer of Necrowarp, and I'm here to give you and this is just generic, it's not intended for a specific person, but it should just be a stand in for the tutorial, let's say, because I'm not going to be creating an in game tutorial at this time because the game is churning. Mechanics are changing rapidly. So this should serve as a decent onboarding as to the intended mechanics. This is the main menu, obviously. I'm aware of some problems with the drop down. I intend to limit the available resolutions to what your screen can support. So obviously I can support a 7680 by 2160 resolution, but not everyone can. So I just need to be more cognizant of that and filter so that people don't make mistakes. Because I know it might be rude to say, you shouldn't pick a resolution that isn't yours. I mean, it technically is a mistake, but I'm not going to be a douche about it. So yeah, there's credits, but the main attraction here is free play. Campaign is not yet available. I am testing it, but it is in nowhere near a playable state. And I don't really have very many graphical assets for it yet. I mean, there's no world map. But it is coming along. So this is the free play patron selection. So obviously this could use a little more explanation natively, but I will explain it in right now. So these are all of the spells that are in the game currently. There's Chaotic Warp, Precise Warp, Annihilate, Repulse, Calcify, and Corporealize, the 8 domain invocations, and then Necromantic Ascendance and Calamitous Retaliation. So they are grouped. These are your locomotion spells. These are your general spells. There's a subdivision here. These two right here, Calcify and Corporealize, are your utility spells, and these are your combat spells. Combat in Necrowarp is not focused on the player. The player should not be the sole combatant, right? It's a roguelike where you summon enemies or summon minions to fight on your behalf and kill enemies who then drop catalysts from which you can summon more minions. And that's what these invocations are for. The invocations must be found or can be given as a patron dowry. So, for example, if I select Kurakaithan will give me Spectral Invocation, and I believe he gives me Incorporealize. I don't know if he gives me Annihilate. But typically you get one locomotion spell, one utility spell, and one invocation from any given patron dowry. It varies. Like some of them, I think the Most Lager gives Cerebral and Infernal Invocation. And I know Pseudochlor gives you Necromantic Ascendance level 1, which is ridiculously overpowered, by the way. But it also, and this is probably the best place to explain this, this is the plus is a malice, negative is a discount, and then obviously neutral means there's no application, it's just base cost. So every time you descend a floor, your patron's disposition will randomly change. It starts out as apathetic, which is the center row. They can be cooperative, which is this right row, or column, sorry. And they can also be sadistic, which is this column. And obviously, this means that if Pseudochlor is sadistic, and you try and use Calamitous Retaliation, you need, I think it's like 32 energy to use Calamitous Retaliation. Calamitous Retaliation is an ultimate spell, so it's already ridiculously expensive, and it requires you to be Ascended. So you have to use an expensive Necromantic Ascendant, and then gain enough energy before your divinity runs out to then use Calamitous Retaliation. It's a board wiper that makes you auto descend a level. So it's very overpowered. If you let the map saturate on a big wave, and then you use it, you get tons of score. But the higher your score, the more kills you have, higher wave counts you get. So it's a push and pull. So, as the game currently stands, I would recommend Calypdrat because right now only bones spawn. But only bones spawning means that if you don't get Calcitic Invocation in a lucky Tribulation run, well, you're fucked. So anyways, I would recommend Calypdrat. Don't play with Rush Mode. Rush Mode is fun, in my opinion, but it's rough because you have a fixed turn time to act. If you fail to act within the fixed turn time, you lose your turn. The game ticks on. It's basically real-time turn-based, as close to it as you can get with a turn-based roguelike like this. So you have to input motions very quickly. You don't have an opportunity to sit around and think. And the plan is, if I can get it polished and playing very well and smoothly, and not, because there's some input command lag and problems with it right now. But the goal is, when you go into Tribulation, and when you're fighting bosses, and when you're on the overworld, that you are automatically opted into Rush Mode, regardless of what you select at this point. When you're just exploring and you're in the caverns, the underworld, and you don't select Rush Mode, it'll be normal roguelike time. Time stops when you stop. But the intention is, maybe this could be for just a hardcore mode, but the intention is for Rush Mode to be on to give you more of a challenge. Anyways, Calypdrat, let's get into this. I might encounter bugs because you never really know. So your favor will show you basically the same thing, except it will filter based on the current disposition. So Calypdrat, she is a goddess of the dead, and she is currently apathetic, so it's that middle column that you're getting. So, for example, I have 3 energy, and Calcify costs 2 energy, and I have 3 energy, that's what that says there. And reserves are at 0 of 2. So there's a chance, I don't know if it's implemented for anything besides what should be here is Chaotic Warp, but spells you don't have aren't shown. So by default, when you pick up, let's say I pick up these animate bones, I think there's a guarantee that you get 1 to your reserves for Chaotic Warp. It should be a 100% free use. You get 1 for free. It won't cost you any energy. That's what the reserves are intended to be. So with locomotion spells, you get up to 3 per spell. With utilities, you get 2. With invocations, looks like you get 2. And then with the ultimate spells, which are somewhere over here, you only get 1. So you have to use it or you're going to overflow. And then ladders, I can get into ladders later. Ladders are very, very difficult to unchain or unshackle. So crevices, I don't remember if ecology is turned on, but if it is, that means Tekvo will spawn from there, and fauna will spawn from there. So there is a ecological simulation going on in the background, which will churn out bones and flesh and blood for you to use in your necromantic economy, which is very important. I'm sure you'll be able to produce your own, but yeah. So bones are very good. So let's see, that works. Okay. So this, I press Control G to open this. This is, and I should specify this, if you hit Control, go to the pause menu, and you hit F1, you can see it up here, let's show controls. It'll tell you everything. So I hit Control G, which is the domain select. The Grimoire menu and Artifact menu aren't a thing yet. If I go back into the game, you can hit M to get a big map, and of course you can left click and drag to move the map around. If you hit Tab and then you hit the arrow keys, you can pan around freely, and if you hit Tab again, you lock back to the character, or your player character. If we go back to the pause menu, you can see those here actually, and then you don't have to use the keybinds for this, but you can set the minimum turn length. So this restricts how long in between turns the game forces. So on slow, I move very slow if I hold down movement, and if I go to ludicrous, boom, I move a lot. So, but I'm just going to leave that on normal. Go back to, and of course, you can use braces to change it around, but you don't have to. I'll get back to domain select in a second. These key bindings are fucking trash. I hate them. I need to figure this out. There's going to be a total rework on mouse controls, and I think that's going to help a lot. But yeah, so for right now, if you hold control, is this invert bindings? I don't know if that's a toggle, so maybe. Oh no, that's not a toggle, is it? Let's see. So maybe that happened. Anyways, you should be able to. Ooh, you should be able to select. No, you can't do that. I'm retarded. Why? Oh no, you can select it. It's just that the invocation's different. Sorry. So if you hit 1, you can change. You can just press these to switch, which is kind of weird that they're still labeled like this, which is my fault. The UI needs to be reworked, obviously, but I'll get into the domain selector because it's a nice little interface. I had to do some very annoying math to get this to work, but so the calcitic domain is currently selected. I have, in the totality of the game save, I've consumed 1 pile of bones, and within my satchel I have 1 out of 6 piles of bones, and that should be the verbiage you're seeing. So the stat that scales with bones consumption is armor. You get +1 armor slot in 5 piles of bones consumed. So currently we have, at most, we can have 2 armor. For things like damage and dread, your base damage is 1. Your base dread is, I think it's like 1.5 times. So there's like a little fog of war. No, not fog of war. There's a background morale system. So you can see that the adventurers are stable. That's what dread is. Dread is a passive thing, and it also has some active components to it, but it's basically total war morale. Just a very basic version of it. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to consume these different catalysts to improve your base stats. Or it's not so much an improvement of the base stats, it's an improvement of the capacity. So anyways, within my satchel I have 1 out of 6 piles of bones. So I should be able to, if we look back here, it says that to use the current right, which is the right is a single target summoning spell. The invocation is a area of effect summoning spell. Rights use what is in your satchel. Invocations use what is in your immediate neighborhood. And by immediate neighborhood, this is going to be consistent. This is the origin of the neighborhood, and then I've just traced the entire neighborhood. It is the 9 tiles right here. That is the immediate neighborhood. And that means, at most, if there were bones everywhere here, and I used Calcitic Invocation, I would summon 9 skeletons. If I was Ascended, I would spawn an Exalted minion for the Calcitic Domain, which should be a Bone Spur, and the Bone Spur would instead have 9 health, because the amount of Catalyst determines its max health. So using less Catalyst results in less health, or maximum health, and thus current health, because they don't roll on health. They get current health equal max health at spawn. So you can, I don't remember if you can only spawn Exalted minions with invocations, but that is the preferred method. Obviously, you should want to be doing all of your summoning through invocations, but it's a mid to late game summoning style. So early to mid, you're going to be using the rites for everything besides your whatever you started with, because you don't start with every single invocation, and based on your patron, you might not be good at everything. So you might have an increased cost. Anyway, enough faffing about. Let's spawn a skeleton. That should be Control Q. And obviously, I really need more UI to make it clear that you have a pending command, because you do have a pending command right now. So if I hit 4, oh no, what did I do wrong? Hold on, Control G. Did I invert this? Control Q. Oh, something is not working. So maybe there is a problem. I don't know what's going on. Is it Alt Q? And then, yes, it's Alt Q. So already one thing wrong. It is, this is inaccurate. So, sorry about that. Excuse my mess. So you might see this is called Animate Bones. Notice how I did not say animate bones. It's not a verb, it's a noun. Or not a noun, it's a adjective. Retard. So this is an animate skeleton. Animacy is inherent to skeletons. It's their one property, right? Because they're fodder, they're trash units. I'm going to be honest with you. They have a chance to miss. They have a chance to shrug off damage. So they don't do a lot of damage, and they sometimes don't take a lot of damage. But the important thing is when they die, well, that one got lucky because the adventurer missed. But anyways, let's see if he encounters another one. I'm going to pick this up because I don't want to lose it. But let's just follow this little guy. Come on. And see? So the skeleton missed his attack. The adventurer hit his attack. And when an animate skeleton dies, it leaves behind rotted bones. So every time a skeleton dies, it leaves behind one lower quality bones. So you can have fresh bones, summon a fresh skeleton. Fresh skeleton dies, leaves behind animate bones. Animate skeleton leaves behind rotted bones. Rotted skeleton leaves behind Ichor. That is your Ichor generation. Ichor wraiths are really fucking good, and cultists are okay. So you want to farm Ichor. Ichor is a great resource. That's the main reason why you want to summon skeletons, besides that they're trash fodder that you can get to basically waste time. You're wasting an enemy's time, and they're decent for clearing out adventurers. So, you'll see if I go back in here, we should have some delectable new things to try out. We have 1 flesh, we have 1 cerebra, and we have 1 pool of blood. So, and we also have 1 bone. But I'm not going to summon another skeleton because that's boring. Let's summon a, what is that? A bloodhound, I think. So there we go. That's a bloodhound. Cool thing about bloodhounds is they can move 2 tiles at once, and they have a chance to dodge attacks. So I don't know the mutual death, but and we can also summon a Chromalise. Oh no, this is a Hamas. So silly. So this is, oh, we got okay RNG on that. This is a Hamas that is projecting a banner bearer. Banner bearer is an advanced support unit for the enemy side. This one has 2 health, and it should do decent damage. So let them fight. And now we have some ectoplasm on the ground. Let's go. That is a very good resource, and of course I can just step into things to consume them. And you want to be cognizant of your satchel capacities, because your satchels will overflow. Oh, they might overflow. That's a bug. They shouldn't overflow. If your satchel's full, you shouldn't consume it. That's on me. If that's the case currently, I will fix it. So now we get to use the Infernal Domain, which uses ectoplasm. So now I can hit Alt-Q, and I'll press up, and we get a Chromalise. These things are pretty good, because enemies can't dodge their attacks, so they're really good against battle monks, because battle monks are very good at dodging when they're Zen, and they're very good against skulkers, because skulkers are very good at dodging as well. So yeah, you want to use Chromalise against those 2 types of enemies. And they can go through walls, as you can probably see. So, very good unit, very good unit. And unfortunately, we don't have any filth yet, so I can't show you the Draugrs. But yeah, so we have Skeleton, Cultist, Bloodhound, Animated Suit. This is Abomination, Draugrs, Hamats, and then Chromalise. So, just the general theme. Bones are more defensive focused. Spectral is offensive. I would say Sanguine is utility, because Bloodhounds are great for scanning the map. They are great at intercepting things. And the Hemogeist is vampiric, so it really sustains itself. Again, Galvanic is just really, really great shock, because they're tanky and they do damage. This one is autonomy, I would say. That's what Ravenous is really good at, because the Abominations can consume flesh, which is very common, and then they can cell divide into 2. It's called mitosis in the game, but they can split into 2 Abominations, and then it keeps going. It can cascade out of control, and then the flesh golem just grows in size. It's a fat bastard. And then the Wretched Domain is this one is focused on the dread mechanics and causing enemies to rout and have heart attacks. Cerebral is it's more support, I would say, because the Furtive Horror is great because it causes an aura of missing. So enemies that normally can't miss or fumble their attacks, when they're in the range of a Furtive Horror, which is the Exalted minion, they have a chance to fumble their attacks. So, very good support unit. And then you've already seen the Chromalise. The Isosceles is the Exalted unit, and it is it's a one-shot kill. It kills anything in one hit, and it can teleport around the map. It blinks around. It has no range that it can't reach. So it's a geometric abomination, and yeah, it's a terrorist on the field. So yeah, that's how you summon minions. For Calypdrop in particular, Calcify can turn walls into bones, and can turn bones into walls, but just for demonstration purposes, I would like to do this to an enemy, because this shows off one of the great mechanics available to you if you are playing as Calypdrop and this fool is right where I want him. So, this guy's standing on bones. If I hit C, he's dead. That is a kill for you. Obviously, if you spawn a wall and kill someone and they drop catalysts, it destroys the catalysts. Unfortunate, I get it. But if you summon a wall, it will destroy whatever's there. Objects and entities cannot exist at a wall unless they're incorporeal, which I think we can get to that next. And no better way to show it. Oops, I probably should just die instead, because if I hit quit. Yeah. Okay. So now let's play as a Kurakaithan. Kurakaithan starts with Incorporealize. So the cool thing about this stat is Phantasm. Phantasm is the amount of turns that you can be incorporeal for when you use Incorporealize, which is the other utility spell. I'm not really seeing a sufficiently long wall to show, or a sufficiently short wall, because like if I go into this wall, I'm pretty sure I'll die. But anyways, I'm just gonna do it. So now I'm incorporeal. You can see that it reads out. Actually, I think I'll be fine because I did add the. Yeah, so I am fine. That's how Incorporealize works. You can be incorporeal for X turns, and you can go through walls. And if you're in a wall, enemies can't attack you, and if they can currently, that's a bug. And when you're incorporeal, you have an innate dodge chance. So if you played the game and you found that an enemy attacks you and he dies, that means you hit him. And it's usually only adventurers, because adventurers can fumble their attacks. So adventurers fumble their attack on you, you live. The only other case is if you trigger divine intervention. Your patron can intervene and stop your death if you're not crushed, if you're not drowned, which is a different stats. In fact, it's only in the DLC currently, which the DLC isn't even done yet, so the game's not even done yet, but it is a planned death type. Not for the player specifically. The sentient pools will be able to go around grappling people and then drowning them slowly. I'm trying to think. So crush, which is if you had a wall spawned on you, that's crush. Then there's eradicate, which I think the only things that eradicate at this point are the isosceles. I think the isosceles is the only one that eradicates, and that means that you're just turbo dead. The other one is devoured, which the Tetvo of sufficient size can devour you. A friendly flesh golem can devour you too, if it's hungry enough and you're near it. It won't seek you out, but if you walk next to a flesh golem, it will decide to eat you, and you won't survive that. So yeah, I need to die regularly so I can show off the rest of the spells. That adventurer fumbled. That's what that looks like. That adventurer also fumbled. Pour one out for these idiots. They need to learn how to fight. There we go. Finally got a competent one. So free play once again. And this time, let's try Marirfin. Marirfin should give me Eradicate. Or Annihilate. I'm retarded. And it does look like we'll need to get one more energy for this. And so, how did I forget to mention this? This is a critical gameplay component. So, we have one in the chamber. Oh, and yeah, that's a latent bug. Your satchel doesn't reset on death. Yeah, that's something I've fixed. And it's not in this version of the Steam build, because obviously, like a retard, I went ahead and reworked I'm implementing GPU rendering. I'm also implementing a new UI system, and I'm also fully reworking the back end for how all of these tiles are organized. So it's churn, like I said. So we spawn a skeleton, and this is 100% iron. Whoa. Whoa. Why did that happen? Is that a bug? I should have this selected. Oh. So Alt Q. There we go. So that is a lovely skeleton. I have 0 armor. I step onto him, and now I have 1 armor. That is your way to fight. If you want to engage in combat directly, you must have armor. Otherwise, you risk death. So let me just pick another one up. Alt Q, up again, and now we're at 2 armor. So the way armor works, I believe, on the code side, is from animate skeletons you get 1 armor minimum, and from fresh skeletons you get 2 armor minimum. But it's based on percentiles. So if you have 8 maximum armor, I think you get like 25% of your armor, and then at least a cap or a minimum, so 1 or 2. I don't know the math. It should be decent scalings. You have to summon and consume a few skeletons, so tough shit. They're easy to spawn. So yeah, I should be able to freely engage in combat now, but you have to be careful, because if you encounter a mercenary, mercenaries do 2 damage, so they will chunk you early on. And that one missed because I still have 2 armor, but that one hit. I have 1 armor. So now I can show you how Annihilate works as well. So let's wait for this chunk of nuts to get in position. So you can see, if I go down here, here's Annihilate. So I could do it on him, but the neat thing about Annihilate, and you can abuse this, and I don't really care because it's intended, is if you hit Z to Annihilate, you will deal damage to everything in your path, and if they bleed, you'll carry whatever they bled across your entire path from the point upon which you first encountered something that could bleed. So here, I am going to get to suck up all this blood. And as you can see, it looks like the satchel is working, because I'm assuming, yes, my blood is full. So, and it looks like I can actually use Sanguining Invocation, which, not a lot of blood here, there's 2, but I think it's Alt E. Nope, that was not it. Oopsie. What is the cost on that? Oh, I have 1 in my reserve. Oh, it's because I don't have it selected. Idiot. So, Alt E. 5. And so you see, I have 2 bloodhounds now. So they should go autonomously murder. And they should be able to survive some attacks. Now that, you know, we're at the will of Iron Jesus, or whatever, in this dark world. Yeah, that one survived. That's either a adventurer fumble or a bloodhound dodge. One of the 2. It's kind of hard to tell. It's like a particle superposition. You never know. So yeah, that's Annihilate. I need to die, so I can show. I think there's at least 1 more spell. Oh, there we go. My armor shed. Let me guess. They're really far away. I can speed this up by precise warping. Fucking trash. Why would you miss? There you go. Okay. So, trying to remember who has the other spell. I don't think there's anything special about Zendikar. Annihilate. I showed that. So Repulse. Pulse is the only one that I need to show, which I think is Wrathghoul. Yeah. Yep, there's Repulse. You need to be very careful with that, because... And as you can see, I summoned an Amit skeleton and a Rotted skeleton, so rights are pure RNG. I don't store the type of catalyst that you consume into your satchel. I can do that in the future if it is requested. But right now it's purely RNG, so you could pick up some rotten bones and get a fresh skeleton, hypothetically. So now I'm just spawning a few more, and you gotta be careful. So that's the other thing I should probably mention, is fatigue. Fatigue builds up every time you use a right. I'm not sure if it's for invocations, but you have to move or wait a turn. Oh, it's not waiting. It should be waiting. I need to fix that. But yeah, you need to move, and ideally you should be able to also wait if you want, which is just hitting 5, by the way. So yeah, I've unlocked Repulse. Repulse is kind of trash right now, honestly. I would not take Repulse. I would not look to use it, because I need to implement the Universal Force System, which will allow you to send enemies further. So at this point, Repulse didn't even look like it worked. So, yeah, sorry. Yeah, kind of a trash spell. So, excuse my mess. That will get fixed in the future when I add a Universal Force System, but as it stands right now, I don't have one, and that is a ton of work. It will get done eventually. And then Pseudochlor kind of shows off the end game. I can't use it unless I turn down cheats, but I don't feel like it. So Necromantic Ascendance lets you summon exalted variants of your minions. When you're divine, you're also immune to all damage and death. Death by killing. You can still be crushed or devoured, or eradicated, but there's no means for which a player could be eradicated at this time. And then I explained it earlier, Calamitous Retaliation is a board wipe that requires you to be ascended. And if you were to use it, Necromantic Ascendance, you would be divine for 3 turns. You have to consume Ectoplasm. So, I hope that has elucidated 1 or 2 things for the fine people out there who decide to playtest the game, and I apologize for the poor experience, if there is one. In some places, I'd say the game is currently playable. I don't know if it's fun, but yeah, that's all.